Everyone that votes no is going into a chamber. Great. I love Zitler. You're giving nationals a much credit and expecting the Jews to be honest. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkey play ball. I'm ready to watch people. Now, are you going to do whatever it takes? Boom, they're dead. It was grape. This girl is fully our word. Kick the B. And everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to go in the chamber. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked. For real, for real. I'm a conservative black person. Independent, no political party affiliation. And what I just read to you was a group of texts that were leaked onto political from a group of Turning Point young Republicans. Talking about the black people, the Jewish people, pretty much anybody they could have talked about as if they were the Aryan Brotherhood themselves. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because those people have parents. And whoever their parents are taught them exactly those phrases and that hate. So stay vigilant and look alive. Look alive, please. Because one thing for sure and two things for certain. Well, that's the rhetoric of the Republican Party that is in charge right now. And no, that's not all conservatives' party. Just FYI, just in case you were confused, I am the black person that defends the Jewish people in this country. I am the black woman that lets them know what the 3Ks and the Aryan Brotherhood did to the Catholics, the Jewish, the black people, and the Irish during the 1930s. And one thing for sure and two things for certain, you will not be causing a divide in between us. The minorities are going to come together on this, and you have forced our hand. And that is okay, because while you hide in private, we show our faces in public. We don't need a group chat. We'll just talk to you. Boy, do I love being conservative. I tell you something about the nuclear family of home values of the South you just can't let go. Don't you ever forget. Not only did we win that war, we still doing better than your ancestors in this country. Sliha. To the black community, I want you to know something very clear. Their parents are police officers. In Wilmington, North Carolina, a couple of years ago, our police officers were caught on radio, currently saying that they were going to unalive all the that they wanted to unalive us, burn us, and put us to the stake. Those police officers had their recordings currently released while they were off duty, and they got in trouble and put on leave. So, one thing for sure and two things for certain, Donald Trump definitely resurrected the time period of the Civil War. It's about time for you to get ready and start waiting on something to happen. Let's get it. Join Patreon to make sure you're updated on all your news and everything else in between, and to prep, no matter what tier. Bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Precious. Today we are talking about something that has been going viral on TikTok about the selfish Maga chat from a young Republican group that just got exposed. And let me tell you, this one say a lot about selfish politicians, how selfish politicians has become. So hey, this is the story. A private group of a young republic was caught chatting online, showing zero care for working people, immigrants, or even students drawing down the debit. They called it is not just numerous, but this is not funny. This is how they really think about it. They laugh at people struggling with rent. They say healthcare is not a right. They call calamity change fakes. Why the planet is really blowing. That is not political talk. That is selfishness. Stress up as but that is not what happened when politicians became about protecting privilege instead of healing people. And it is very sad to see young boy representing the same old greed we have been fighting for all these years.
Imagine you work for Donald Trump and his administration, and you get caught by Politico in what you thought was a private online group chat with people saying things like, I love Hitler, and saying it's a mistake to, quote, expect the Jew to be honest, end quote, along with multiple racist phrases, as well as talking about wanting to see people, quote, going to the gas chamber, end quote, which provokes the reply, quote, I'm ready to watch people burn now. Imagine what would happen to someone working in the Trump administration who's in group chats like that. What would you do if you were that Republican guy and Politico called you before publishing their investigative report about the I Love Hitler chat group that you're in? What would you say to Politico? He declined to comment. And he still has his job in the Trump administration. The Politico article came out today at 1:15 p.m. and Donald Trump has taken no action against the guy working for him who's in the I Love Hitler chat. Not one Republican has said one word yet objecting to a group of young Republicans in a group chat saying, I love Hitler. No Republican has a problem with that, not one. Politico published their report today under the headline, I Love Hitler, Leaked Messages Expose Young Republicans' Racist Chat. Politico reports leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. The group chat members spoke freely about the pressure to cow to Trump to avoid being called a rhino, the love of Nazis within their party's right wing, and the president's alleged work to suppress documents related to wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein's child sex crimes. Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files, Alex Dwyer, the chair of the Kansas Young Republicans, wrote in one instance. At least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump administration, Michael Bartels, who, according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartels did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. And tonight, Michael Bartels still has his job working for Donald Trump and working for J.D. Vance because participating in an I Love Hitler group chat is apparently not a reason for Donald Trump to fire you. Donald Trump is eagerly trying to fire federal workers these days, not one of whom has said, I love Hitler. Elon Musk and Donald Trump this year have fired thousands of federal workers, but they're keeping the guy in the I Love Hitler chat. They don't want to lose him. Michael Bartels. Michael Bartels declined to comment to Politico after he got caught in the I Love Hitler chat at the same time that Donald Trump falsely claims to be trying to purify the universities of America by cleansing any trace of anti-Semitism in the student body of those institutions or the faculty. And they have never found an I Love Hitler group chat at any one of those universities. Donald Trump has never found anything like that. Donald Trump has never found anything like the poison that someone in his own administration is trafficking in. After Politico's stunning expose of the virulent racism and anti-Semitism among the leaders of young Republicans, old Republican Donald Trump was not angry at any one of them. He wasn't angry at the I Love Hitler guy. He wasn't angry at the guy who said the thing about the watermelon people. He wasn't angry at the guy who said, I'm ready to watch people burn now in gas chambers. But the old Republican Donald Trump was very angry at the front-running candidate for mayor of New York City, who has never said, "I love Hitler," who has never said anything like the vicious poison that so delights the leaders of young Republicans. Donald Trump falsely accused the front-running candidate for mayor of New York City today of being a communist.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
Which should have provoked the question, Mr. President, what is a communist? Donald Trump obviously has no idea, because he also said, these are his words, quote, "I mean communist policies, which is proven for thousands of years doesn't work, you know?" Those are his words. The question he will never be asked by the almost entirely compliant White House press corps is, who invented communism thousands of years ago, according to you? Communism is just a generation or two older than Donald Trump. But he obviously doesn't know that. He just knows that communists in American political usage is a very bad word. It's the worst thing you can be politically in the United States, historically, and so that's why Donald Trump throws it around. Like the word tariff, he has no idea what it means. And so Donald Trump spent the day angry at all sorts of people, as he does every day, but not even slightly bothered by Michael Bartels, the guy who works for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and was caught in the I Love Hitler group chat. George Stephanopoulos has never said, "I love Hitler," but Donald Trump is very angry at George.
I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. Brian, go ahead.
So that's Donald Trump drawing attention once again to the persistence of George Stephanopoulos on Sunday in trying to get the Vice President of the United States to answer a very simple question. Did Donald Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, take $50,000 in cash in a paper bag from undercover FBI agents who recorded a secret video of Tom Homan taking that money last year? Under George Stephanopoulos' relentless questioning about the $50,000 in cash, the vice president was forced to finally admit he doesn't know if Donald Trump's border czar accepted the $50,000.
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom of violating a crime, even the far-left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question.
While you were just listening to the vice president, I was just handed breaking news from Kansas. On the Kansas Reflector, on Tuesday, the chairman of the Kansas Republican Party said the Politico article disclosing the commentary prompted immediate deactivation of the Kansas Young Republican Organization. So there's one Republican. There's one Republican in America, the chair of the Kansas Republican Party, who said, we can't tolerate this. We absolutely can't tolerate this. But nothing from Donald Trump, absolute silence from Donald Trump, and absolute silence from Vice President Vance about young Republicans in an I Love Hitler group chat.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine.
Let's get one thing straight, you guys. Accountability needs to be taken on both sides. It needs to go both ways. Democrats, Republicans, anyone that ends up saying some shit that fucking shouldn't be said should be held accountable for their actions. Another thing we got to get straight, you guys. These are not children that he is talking about. He's talking about individuals that ended up getting busted. Their age is between 20 and 30. Those are adults, plain and simple. I don't give a fuck what you say. They're not kids. They need to be held accountable. And here's another thing that I think is fucking hilarious. He said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. And he said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. Last time he was on that podcast, he ended up talking about and doxing people about their actions and their jokes and their memes about Charlie Kirk's death. These young adults in this group chat, over 2,900 pages, thousands, tens of thousands of text messages that were leaked, showcased them talking about and bragging about how much they loved Hitler, how much they idolized rape. Yeah, you heard me right. They said that right there is edgy and cool. Edgy and cool to rape some female. Wow. Absolutely crazy. They also idolized the fact that, they said that the gas chamber needs to be utilized a lot more right now. Yeah, it needs to be utilized a lot more right now. Especially on brown and black people. But they're kids. They're children. Let me know your thoughts and your comments over this way because, accountability. Yeah, give me a fucking break.
Oh, no way. What? Republicans are total pieces of shit in their free time, too? It's not all just a performance? I'm so surprised. Yeah, so that's the news. They're just as big of losers behind closed doors as you expected them to be. A bunch of private Telegram chats just leaked between several young Republican leaders from just a few months. They are just as terrible as you would expect. I hope you have learned to expect this from them. It was, as you could probably imagine, a flurry of slurs and racial tropes. They talked about gassing their political enemies. Not to mention their chats of essaying enemies, driving them to end things themselves, and celebrating Republicans that they thought were into slavery. Remember when you guys were crying a couple of weeks ago, pretending to be upset about violent rhetoric just to get attention? Here's the thing. These are losers. Losers with way too much power, that's for sure. But they're losers. This kind of hate fulfills a personal need. This is about individuals that hate themselves so much that in order to feel just a little bit better about themselves, they have to find a way to hate everyone else just a little bit more than they hate themselves. But of course, if they were going to hate on the basis of character, moral substance, if they were going to base it on real reasons, well, that would would just confirm what they already know, which is that they don't measure up. And they've been raised to equate a sense of security with a sense of superiority. So they gotta find someone somewhere that they can feel like they're above. But again, if you have nothing of value to offer as a person, well then you gotta figure out how to make it so that what you were born as has inherent value. And instead of slinking off and maybe working on yourself or working out how not to feel so insecure about your mediocrity, which by the way, would be fine if you didn't make it everyone else's problem, you just get to work on your own delusion. So now you won't actually feel better about yourself, not in any sort of long-term or real way, but you might be able to convince yourself for long enough increments at a time to get yourself through the day. By dropping a slur or hateful epithet or talking about how much violence you'd like to enact on the people you perceive as enemies, anytime a little pinch of the feelies starts creeping through, and you start to realize once again how worthless you really are. You know what non-losers never have to do? Constantly convince themselves and those around them that they're superior based on something that they didn't even achieve themselves. And all this so you can all just pretend that you have something in common with each other, because otherwise you would have no idea how to make or maintain any sort of friendships. Such loser behavior.
This is insane, the biggest story in politics today, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked. And then it got leaked. They referred to black people as this and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about doing this to their enemies and driving them to do that. I can't say some of these things because of social media, but I am dedicated to not letting these people get away with it. So I'm going to show you their texts and then we're going to put a face to some of them. Right here, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, said PG. And that person is this guy, Peter Gunta. He was referencing a vote for him to take over this massive Republican organization, and he lost, by the way, and said anybody that votes no is going to be punished. And then BW says, when do we start bullying, dude? That guy is Bobby Walker, who has other really disgusting texts. And he says, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Then AK says, when do we bring that side out? That right there is Ann K. Katie. This person. And it actually gets worse. JM says, can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the blank aesthetic. That guy is Joe Maligno. And there he is right there. Vice President, Staten Island Young Republican Club. And notice all the reactions to the text messages as well. They line up with names, of course. And then Ann K. Katie also said, I'm ready to watch people, you know. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used these words and variations of racial slurs more than a dozen times in the chat. This is William Hendricks. You know, I'm really starting to see a theme with all these people. They all just look kind of similar, don't they? And the final one is this guy named Alex Dwyer saying, he did say my delegates I bring will vote for the most right-wing person. And then that Peter Gunta loser said, great, I love blank. And notice how Alex Dwyer put a smiley face on that text. He loved it. This is Alex Dwyer, by the way. I highly recommend you go read that Politico article because there's far more than I can fit into this one video, but it is truly appalling. This is the kind of rhetoric, the kind of behavior that Donald Trump has inspired. All of those people have sworn allegiance to Donald Trump.
Let me ask you something. How the hell did we get here? Because if you've read what Politico just uncovered, you know that some of these so-called young Republicans weren't talking about policy. They were talking about grape being epic, about gas chambers, about slavery jokes, about Jews and black people, like it was some kind of twisted group chat from 1939. If you're new here, my name's Alex Cardozo. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran, and we're about to talk about how this kind of disgusting behavior isn't just tolerated anymore. It's normalized by the very people running this country. Please follow, like, share, and hit that comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. Politico just dropped almost 36 pages of leaked Telegram messages from young Republican leaders from Kansas, Vermont, New York, Arizona, and it's honestly one of the most vile things I probably have read. We're talking about thousands of messages, racist slurs, anti-Semitic jokes, and I'll be posting some of them on here as we speak. People literally writing things like 1488, white supremacist code for Hail Hitler, a guy describing grape as epic. Someone else joking about gas chambers, another mocking black people with watermelon and Kool-Aid comments, and yet another mocking Indian people's hygiene while his wife tossed in expecting the Jew to be honest. Now, these aren't random trolls. These are leaders, people sitting in state chapters of a national organization tied to the Republican Party. And here's what really ticks me off. They're only sorry now because they got caught, not because they believe it's wrong, not because they finally realized the weight of what they said, but because it got out there, because people saw who they really are. And you know what? There's thousands of people who speak like this every single day, both online and in real life, who now feel safe doing it. And I'll tell you why. Because this entire Trump-era GOP has made it normal. They laugh it off. They call it free speech. They say, oh, people are too sensitive. No, this isn't too sensitive. This is dehumanizing. This is the same toxic mindset that history taught us leads to violence, genocide, and hate-fueled power. And you can't separate Trump from it. He is the culture that made this possible. When the top guy jokes about migrants poisoning the blood, when his administration turns ICE into a weapon, when he invites extremists to dinner, this is what trickles down. This is the next generation of Republican leadership. And it's really terrifying. So here's what I want to ask you, and I want you to think about this before you answer. Is this how the next generation of Republican leaders talks when they think no one is watching? What do you think they'll do when they're the ones writing laws? Do you still believe this is just jokes? Or are we looking at the early stages of something even darker? Something this country swore we'd never repeat.
So you've never said anything bad in a group chat? I mean, I've never said, let's remodel the showers because the gas chambers don't really fit the aesthetic. Typical liberal worried about a group chat with people that aren't even in power. God, those are just kids being kids. They're joking, okay? Why don't you worry about real things like the Democrats having the government shut down? Oh my God, not this. TSA employees are going without being paid. The airports are down. People are, the economy's being affected all because the Democrats. Hold up, the Republicans run all three branches of government right now. They could do something if they wanted to, but it fits their twisted narrative. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene said so. And I agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is a different topic. No, she agreed with me. Anyway, let's go back to what you were talking about. Let's go back to nothing. It's all your fault. You liberals just want to run the world. Exactly why you having that no kings? Talk about, you mean the I Hate America march? Hey, real quick, what happened to don't tread on me or I want smaller government? I don't want the government in my stuff, especially when it's woke. So cope harder and stay out of people's group chats, but not their email servers, especially Hillary's. That Hunter Biden, crazy.
Did you guys hear about the Young Republicans group chat being hacked and exposed? Oh, you haven't? Let me tell you about it. I want you to picture this. 2,900 pages of hate. 28,000 chains of messages in this thread. The thread was so vile, racist, and disgusting that I can't even talk about it on TikTok's platform without getting flagged. Then the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, has come to support the Young Republicans, saying it was just locker room talk. I want to say this again. What was in this thread, I cannot repeat. It was that vile, that disgusting, and that violent, and extremely racist. And the Vice President of the United States has come to their defense. I want everybody to remember something. When a Republican points their finger at somebody, an ideology, or someone, you just remember there is 10 more fingers pointing back at them. Please look up this thread that I can't talk about here and see it for yourselves. It exists. They exist. Do as you please with this information. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and if you haven't followed me yet, please do. Have a day.
Let's be real. Being selfish is not leadership. Real leadership is caring about others, lifting people up, and making life fair for everyone. So this is the next time. So this is the time. Some people call themselves a patriot. Why mocking the poor? Just remember, that is not love for the content. That is love for your own pocket, your own bag. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow for more. Push to help.